What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this Friday Live by the Hood. For those who are watching that watch every week, this is our Friday show that we come on, share some time with the community, answer questions, talk about what we have going on currently in the investment space. And just get a time to kick it and have conversations with other folks in the investment space, whether that's those watching live, and sometimes we have guests. Um, Corey should be joining me pretty soon. He was having some technical difficulties because of this storm that's going on, but he said he would be coming on soon. But we have a very, 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 very special guest who she doesn't share time with everybody, but she decided to come on with us, and she stays real low. But she is a legend in the options game, and I mean that. Specialty with technical analysis, and just an overall amazing person who I've learned a lot from. So. Without further ado, Lance, how are you? Delanshia Hamilton, how are
I'm
you?
good. How are you, Jimmy?
Oh man, amazing. How you been?
Man, I've been good. I'm glad to get to talk to you guys again. Me and Corey actually talked, I think, last weekend. He was like, "You got to come on and
Yeah,
join
because
us again." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So
you got low because like you taught us a lot about technical analysis and talking about options. But like I said, we're fortunate to have you come on with this because you don't go on a lot of platforms. You don't even show your face that much these days. You be real low, but
no, man.
it's amazing to have you though. So everything's been good though.
Yep. Just working, staying low, like you said. That's
I
it.
know that's right. I know that's
I'll
right.
pop out the bushes next year sometime, I guess.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, we we've been talking about options the last couple weeks, and we had a gentleman on last week. And salute to Shawn Witherspoon, who's an amazing option trader. There's a lot of interest in options right now, but also
Yeah.
just to talk to people who have experience in the within the field and see how they're maybe their trading styles have changed, or
Mhm.
maybe you're staying the same, just to see what you're doing in 2020, because this market, as me and you were talking about before we came on, this market is absolutely insane. So just
Yeah.
to like get a follow up with you and see how everything's going with you in 2020. How the market's treating you.
Man, some days, like I was telling you earlier, some days the markets treat me wonderfully, and then I have a few days where the markets just they treat me like a redheaded stepchild. But it's all good overall because even those days where it's not so great, I learn quite a bit. I keep a pretty detailed record of the things that I learned, so I can always refer back to those lessons when I haven't quite learned them.
Hmm.
But yeah, Marcus are great. It was just crazy how I'm just thinking back to like January. I was talking to some of my clients, and I was just talking about how even early January, before we even knew anything about COVID, the price action in the markets was just weird,
Yeah.
and I can't even explain it really, but it was just weird stuff going on, and I was just like, man, it just these markets are acting like something about to go down for real, for real.
Yeah.
Who knows what?
With
China
with
knew, but we didn't know.
with all the volatility, right? With all the volatility
Yeah,
that's going on in there, do you find yourself making more trades now or less trades?
it depends on the day. Some days I'm kind of trying to find a balance between where that tipping point is, where I'm like, okay, I'm over trading versus I'm in a zone, so I'm just trading. So sometimes I'll have a day where I'll come into the markets and I'm over trading already. First trade is just I'm just doing too much. But then some days I might make 7 trades and be razor sharp on 6 or 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do find myself trading a lot more um, with all this volatility and a lot more than I would like to. Typically, I'm good with maybe up to 3 trades a day, and
Okay.
I'm done. But here lately, it's I just become a scalp queen pretty much.
Got
I'm
you.
in
Now,
and out. I'm in and out. But yeah, I'm trying to build up my intestinal fortitude to just say bump this volatility. I'm gonna hold because this is what the charts say. This is what this is my assessment of the charts, and I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, it,
so
it gets hard.
in an ideal situation, you say that you would do 3 trades a day, and I if everything was ideal.
Yeah, up to 3 trades a day. Because
Up
sometimes I
to.
might just do one good one, and I'm set.
Okay.
But yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the setups and what I see.
Okay. All right. Let's check in with the folks who are watching live real quick. We got Jabbar Fairweather. Jabbar, what's good, family? How you? Let's see. We got Rashida checking in from YouTube. What's going on, Rashida? How are you? Um, Salute to Jabbar again. Don checking in. Don, what's up, brother? How you? Hey,
How's
Janelle,
it
how are you?
going? How's it going?
Shout out to Malik. Malik said, "Nice drawing."
Oh
That is
yeah,
dope.
oh
I tell
yeah,
every time I see you, and I tell you that's dope. That's fire. That's definitely
yeah.
fire. Omar, what's going on? Scout Queen, yes, that's me.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, so all the good folks checking in. Let's see, who's this? Fred checking in. Hey Fred, what's going on?
Fred, what's happening, brother?
Salutations, Kahan. How are you, good brother? Yeah, so appreciate everybody checking. Everybody checking in. Make sure you hit the like button, share this on your page so we can get this conversation out there. Just talking to Lance about how her trading strategies may have changed in 2020 with so much volatility and so much craziness. Got to ask you about this thing specifically because one of the craziest things this year to me is Elon Musk, right, coming out and telling the world my company is overvalued and the markets just push it back up further. And you see all this after after everything. He's literally telling you
Yeah,
a CEO of a company is saying it's overvalued, but still the
yeah.
market pushes it up. What's your opinions on everything going on with Tesla?
Man, Elon is a cult leader, and it's almost like the people who are like they just swear by Apple products.
Yeah, yeah,
People feel the same. It's the same type of culture, in my opinion, with Tesla. Like my neighbor just bought a Tesla. She got like 75,000 kids, but she like, fuck that. I'm getting me a Tesla. Sorry, I'm not supposed
no,
to.
listen, this all
But
listen.
she
Ain't no
she
sense of
like,
shit.
fuck
We
that.
know what it is.
I'm getting me a Tesla, even though all my children can't fit in this car. I'm getting a Tesla. But so it, Tesla is just crazy, man. It's just really all about the innovation. Really, people really believe in Elon.
Hmm.
It ain't even got to be about the products that Tesla puts out. People really believe in the CEO. And really, when you buy a company, that's what you're investing in. You're investing in the management, really.
Yeah,
Because you can have the best product in the world, but if you got shitty management, you just throwing your money away, really. Um, but yeah, Tesla's really an innovative company. And I remember, talking to my dad. He works in the car business. Been working in car sales for probably all of my life. And he was telling me, when I was back in high school, he was looking at Tesla like, man, Tesla is really going to shake up this industry. And I don't even
I,
know what Tesla was trading for at the time, but it was cheap.
yeah. You
Really,
made you
really,
made a
really.
you made a great point, and I want you to expound upon that. Something you just said. You said when you buy a company, what you're buying is the management because the product doesn't even matter. Can you explain that for the? I think that's an amazing point for not just traders but investors in general.
Yeah, yeah. So when you learn to read financials, um, when you start to learn to decipher those numbers, at the end of the day, it comes down to how efficient management is with those numbers. If I have an amazing product and I'm bringing in, $1 million in sales, but I'm spending 50, on all kinds of other things, your question shouldn't be, your question should be directed toward, okay, what is going on with management? What are they doing with this? Why are they in the hole so much? And not necessarily getting caught up in, oh, this is an amazing product that sells $1 million a month or $1 million, whatever the revenues are. But when you find that a company is, kind of operating in the hole, especially when you have a company that's like your Teslas, like your Shopify's that kind of are recently becoming profitable companies, it's very, very important that you know how efficient management is.
Yeah.
And you know, there are always exceptions to that rule, because Tesla, looking at the numbers, I would probably be like, nah, Tesla, nah. If I didn't know what Tesla was, just, on its face, looking at the financials, I'd probably be like, nah, this is shitty.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes there are exceptions where you're like, okay, how is this going to fit into the future? What kind of, where does this product fit in today's world, and is it going to be changing today's world, and how does it fit into tomorrow potentially?
Yeah.
But yeah, CEOs, management, it's all about how they manage what they have coming in. And bad management can drive a good company into the ground. So it
That's a great point though, and I'm glad you made it. And also what's interesting about that is keeping it right at Tesla, right? I owned Tesla a while ago, and I got out,
Mhm.
I got out of it once I doubled my money because my analysis told me what you just said, and
Right.
I couldn't see what, like, what happened now. I couldn't foresee that.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it, right? If your analysis is telling you, like, this isn't a good company, but you do understand that the aspect of the future, how
hmm
difficult is it to hold on to something like that for you?
So, sometimes it's about how you structure your portfolio. And I tell my people, I say, structure your portfolio across the business cycle. You want to take a small percentage and dedicate that to your companies that you feel like, even though, it doesn't fit my standards in terms of how the numbers look, I believe in the product, I believe in the CEO, whatever, I believe in the vision of this company. So I'm gonna throw maybe 5-10% of my portfolio at this particular company.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna just let it do what it do. I'm just forget about it. If it goes to shit, that's okay. It doesn't make or break me. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how I tend to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If it
Oh, that
doesn't
makes
fit
sense.
my standards, I just take a little bit of money and put towards it and just let it do what it's gonna do.
Now, as someone who's been trading for a while, right? And you see there's a lot more activity, a lot more traders in the market. Um, so the question I have for you is, are you able to take advantage of that? Um, because
Absolutely, absolutely. Like,
in which ways?
With Apple especially, knowing, okay, boom, split. We all know that's bullish, but we all know, we've seen the news about newbies running into Robinhood to try their hand at options trading because they see all kinds of people on social media talking about it, or they've heard about it. Um, so that's piling a lot of volume into the markets. All kinds of people that had never traded or invested before, at least outside of maybe like a 401k, they're like, oh shoot, I got to buy some Apple. So naturally, you just know, okay, Apple getting ready to run off the strength of the split. And then of course with everything else that I said, you just know. So somebody like me is like, okay, well, let me buy some calls. Let me go about 2 weeks out on it. Set it to expire the day before the split, the last week,
Mm-hmm.
and let me just collect some funds off that.
Yeah, Apple scared me because, like, the week before last, or what, I started having people call me asking about it that just are people that don't really care about investing, have never cared about
Right,
investing. And
right,
it reminded me of, like, right before the real estate market bust, when you start having random people who don't care about it ask you those questions.
right,
And so I like this hype around Apple is real.
man.
Real quick, we got some more people checking in. Let's see. Malik says I'm top fan of. Well, all right, that's what's up, Malik.
All right, all
Um,
right.
Mark, what's good? Let's see.
What's up, partner? How you
Hey,
doing?
how are you? How are you? Thanks you for checking in. Hey, Callie, how are you? And Kim is also checking in. What's up, Kim? Yeah. So, all right. So, a couple more questions about, like, your trading in 2020 versus before. Are you still more technical, or I know you understand fundamental, you do fundamental, but are you still more of a technical trader at this point?
Man, I don't know how I ever traded without technical analysis. I don't know. I, don't-
That's interesting
it's
because
definitely
some people are completely the other way. All they do is
exactly
fundamental, but then some people
Right.
are technical. But you said you don't understand. Explain that to why do you think? Or a couple question, 2-part question. Why do you think that that's something that you should have always done? And what is your give us a couple indicators that you look at with your technical analysis?
So why do I think it's something that I should have always done? Well, for one, going back to my days before I knew how to read charts, I did have some success for real. And that's just not to say that you can't trade without reading charts. But what I was finding was I would, jump in a position, it would be down for a while. Or it might, run up that same day, but it would be down for a while. I have to hold on to it for, weeks and weeks and weeks. And then all of a sudden one day, maybe some news breaks and it finally breaks to my advantage. But I kept seeing that maybe, I kind of had this question of, is there a way for me to find a better entry so that, maybe I can make best use of my time and money? Because I really don't like having money tied up for that long. When I run up some big cash in the near future, that might be a little different, but I like being able to see what the sentiment is, because we've all been on the wrong side of the news.
Yes.
All of us,
Yes.
regardless of
Absolutely.
whether you read charts or whether you strictly fundamental, we've all been on the wrong side of the news. But one thing that people misunderstand about charts is that charts and sentiment go hand in hand all the time. They never part. If if some bullish news comes out, the chart, it can be bearish, but as soon as that news comes out, that chart is bullish.
Hmm.
um a lot of people get it wrong in their interpretation of the news or their interpretation of the charts, or they just can't read charts, period. um but yeah, so charts allow me to maximize profits. I'm to a point now where I'm strategically greedy. I'm like, I want as much as that profit from the high of the day to the low of the day and the other way around, depending on if I'm in calls or puts. So charts allow me to see, okay, this might be bottoming out. Let me go ahead and buy some calls and set, whatever my exit is, that's where I'll get out. Um,
I like that phrase, strategically greedy, right?
yes, yes. So
Strategically
yeah,
greedy. All
yeah,
right.
charts allow me to be strategically greedy.
So
And then what your other question
yeah, and
was?
I was about to get to you again. So I know we have some traders that are watching that are like newer traders. What would you tell them is the and I know before we talked to you, you said the first thing is to learn the lingo. But if they were like trying to like start learning the charts, what would be the first thing you tell them to study?
So with charts, the way I did it is I started off, I said, well, what is a candlestick? And it was just a series of questions, and I just kind of built upon, as I answered one question, it just brought up another question. I just built from there. But I literally started with, what is a candlestick?
Hmm.
Of course, there are other types of uh, candlesticks, so to speak, that you can use as bars and lines and stuff like that. But I use candlesticks, and that's where I started. So I started with, what is a candlestick? And really just sitting with charts and observing them, that taught me, I guess it was kind of revealed to me, okay, these are the elements that I need to piece together my trading plan. So I need to know where it's going, how strong is it moving in that direction, and what the momentum is in that direction. So I built my strategy around those key elements, and that's pretty much what helps me. Oh, you asked about a couple of indicators. So I love MACD. Um, MACD is the king, in my opinion.
Hmm.
There are other momentum indicators. Of course, you got your stochastics, fast and slow, and stuff like that. But I swear by MACD.
Okay.
Um, I've studied some others, but I'm most comfy with MACD.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Real quick, we got some more check-ins. Let's see. Just put some fractions. All right. That's what's up. Oh, congratulations on that. What else? Yeah, he said the COD no doubt. Shout out to Spoon. Spoon's checking in. Spoon was on her last week.
All right.
Another chart guy. We were actually looking at charts. Me and Corey looking at charts with Spoon this week, and Corey started getting a headache. He was like, "Man, these damn charts." Because think a swim board. Think a swim can go so far as to give you a headache.
Man, I love, love, love. What's up, Theo? I
Theo, how are you?
love Thinkorswim. It when Thinkorswim is functioning properly now. Ever since that Charles Schwab merger, it's been like,
That's
I
hilarious.
mean,
Because
it's been sweet.
that's the same exact thing Spoon told. He said ever since that merger, the merger,
Yeah,
everything had been smooth.
yeah, but other than that, when Thinkorswim is functioning properly, I have not seen any other piece of software for chartists that is better than Thinkorswim.
Let me ask you a question. Do you use the mobile app or you only use it on the computer?
Both. I used to strictly trade mobile, but once I started really, really getting into charts, I do desktop. So I'll be sitting here with my laptop open with my big chart view, and then I execute my orders on the mobile.
Got you, got you, got you, got you. All right, so we have a question for you.
I love Bollinger Bands.
Okay.
I do.
So there you go. So she loves Bollinger Bands. I think we already put this one. I'm gonna put up here. Theo said, "What's up?" So what's up, Theo? Uh, Jose was good. Chart God in the building. What's good, Jose? Yeah, man. And so yeah, so that's interesting. That and I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know a lot of people don't like to share some of their strategies or some of the things that they actually look at, but you're giving our people somewhere to start from, especially
Yeah.
new traders who might be watching this. Um, and I know you told me before, I'm just going to reiterate this. You also feel like everybody should understand the fundamentals of investing before they trade. And I know you still feel that way. I'm
Yep.
going to ask you, but I know you feel that way. But can you explain to our audience why you feel that people should understand the fundamentals before they jump into trading?
Because it's like I prefer for people to have a deeper understanding of what's going on. Like that's part of why I don't or haven't ventured into Forex yet, because I could probably successfully trade Forex just reading charts. But me personally, I like to know what's going on fundamentally with these coins, what's going on in the news. I like to combine the fundamental element with the technical or the chart element. So I would say I'm about like 75% chart, the rest, fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if it's almost like you're putting the cart before the horse. And I've had many people inbox me who've gotten caught up trying to learn options without going through that core, the just the basics. Many people just inbox me like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in this call, and what do you think it's going to do?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your anybody that comes to me about learning charts or learning options? My first question, if I don't know you, is, or if I'm not familiar with you, is what's your experience in the markets? If you say, I just kind of dibble dabble in options, but I don't really know much, then I'm going to turn you around and tell you to go, you need to learn some fundamentals first, because especially if you can't read a chart, how can you really put together a plan based on what's material to this company, what's immaterial to this company? That's all fundamental stuff that you learn when you're learning those market basics. How does certain events that are internal to the company or external to the company, how does those things influence supply and demand? That's pretty much what fundamentals is. It's like a cornerstone of fundamentals. What elements impact supply and demand, and how can you capitalize on that fluctuation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good stuff. So we have Who did she say that she studied the most again? I think they were talking about you said you swear what you swear by in terms of a metric. What was the metric that you said that you swear by?
Uh, I remember saying I swear by something. Jeez, what
What
was it?
was it? You said Mac. What was it? You said I swear
Oh,
by
MACD. I swear
Okay,
by MACD. Yeah.
okay. There you go. There you go. All right, cool. So that was that. Another check-in right here. Trayvon Glover. Go look at my people. I think we all teaching our small circles and communities. That's right. That's what it's about.
Yep. For
Appreciate
sure.
the
For
check-in.
sure.
Appreciate the check-in. Appreciate the check-in. Something that you always talk about, right? And talking to you, you always talk about your trading plan, and I find those choice of words interesting, right? Um,
Hmm.
you know, hold on real quick before I get into that. Everybody is asking about that that picture behind you, and the penny behind you. I love it. Everybody loves that picture.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. I have to look up his name, but he's a tattoo artist down in Orlando, Florida. I think this black guy got t-shirts, everything. Be turning heads when I wear my shirt. Big
yeah,
energy.
I'm gonna
But
put it on the page once you share. Once you figure
yeah,
out his
I'll
name,
send it
share
to
with me,
you,
I'll put
Jimmy.
it on the page. But what I was talking about is you often talk about your trading plan, and I find those choice of words interesting because one of the things that I recognize being in the markets is we all have a plan, but the most difficult part isn't the charts, it isn't the fundamentals, it's the mental part.
Oh
And
yeah,
I find myself sometimes, as much as I know, still deviating from the plan, and it never
right,
works. But so it never works. And a shout to Malik
right.
who's watching. Malik shared with us earlier. He was like, "Man, I just tried to, I think he said he lost like something crazy within 15 minutes because he went away from his plan." Um,
Yeah,
as someone who's a veteran, right? How difficult is it for you? Do you still find yourself sometimes going off your plan?
man. Listen, so I have a I have a little channel in Discord, right? One channel is dedicated to all the mistakes I've made over and over and over again. And all that stuff has built my whole trading plan. So it's like a bunch of different insights that I have to remember on a daily basis because if I break those rules, 9 times out of 10, I'm losing. Um, but what was your question?
And it, because I'm saying it gets so frustrating for me because I know better, and I still
Oh
can't.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't, but I can't stop myself
Yeah,
sometimes.
just today, as a matter of fact, just today, and I'm trying to get better with this discipline. No, I'm getting better. I am better with this discipline, but just today, I saw a high probability setup on SPX this afternoon. Jumped on it. It's like okay, and SPX was choppy as hell this afternoon, and I was like, okay, cool, 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 okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little stressed out because it's not doing what I think it's going to do. But I knew based on that setup, I knew where it was going. But I sat through all that choppiness, just grit like a mofo through the choppiness, and I was so wore out that I sold that jump right before SPX took off at the end of the day.
Oh,
Man, I was
oh,
still profitable, but man, I left so much money on the table on that trade. And it's just a matter of me having that blind Kanye level belief in myself, that faith where I'm just like, this shit is gonna work. I'm gonna
mhm.
just stick with this plan. It's do or die. So I'm trying to get to that point. I
Yeah.
really am. I'm working on it.
And I wonder if that's always going to be an issue because, like, every trader I talk to says that. I'm talking about the most seasoned traders still deal with that.
Yeah.
Even Spoon checked and he said facts. Yeah, we all deal with it. Jabbar also says facts.
Right.
See, everybody says it. Don, let me see. Don says just added 75 shares of VGT. Listen, Don, I was just talking about VGT. I was telling Sean and Corey that I got VGT as a buy and hold. I made about 10 grand this year just on VGT. And the reason I was telling that, I said it's outperformed like a rental property I have, which is crazy.
Mhm.
But when I look at the amount of the net profit from VGT versus this building, so VGT is a good one. Very heavy in with Fang, and we could talk about that in a second as too. But very heavy in Fang, but it's a good one. Question for you: do you use trail stops?
No.
Okay, why not?
Only time, very rarely I'll say. when I use trail stops, it's because I can't look at the chart for some reason. I'm busy doing something else, so I'll just set a trail stop because I can't look at my phone. But if I can sit and watch the charts, no stops for me.
Yeah. Now that's interesting because you trust your analysis that much, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I have my mental stops, but what I'm finding more so, or what I've recognized a lot this year, is that these algos will go and trip off your stops. So I'm like, I'm not about to tell them where I want it to go or where I'm trying to get out at. Because a lot of times you'll set your stop, boom, that stop activates right away, and then it just takes off going, where you knew it was gonna go. So yeah, I just do mental stops. I'll be like, okay, I can handle it falling 5, or my ultimate plan is I'm gonna let it go to 0. I'm gonna believe in it that much that I'm gonna place this trade.
Wow.
Whatever happens, if it goes to 0, I'm good with that. And if it pops off, excellent.
Yeah, you got that kind of faith. Let it go to 0. Let it go to 0.
Now that don't take that as advice, people.
Oh, listen, I had to check on you this week, though. Oh, said I was getting ready to run a put on Microsoft since they were trading at all-time highs, and I'm glad I didn't. That's why I checked with you, because it was before that news came out about TikTok, and I saw him in the group saying, I'm thinking about putting the put against Microsoft, and everybody told him, like, don't do that. Don't bet against Microsoft, and thank God you didn't.
Yeah.
So
that's the beauty of having a group.
Yeah, that, man, great point right there, because you never trade alone. We trade right. as a unit, and we run things by each other. So yeah, right. That's a great point. Colin says, can you explain how a stock option can blow through a stop limit? What you just did, but could you further elaborate on like how it can blow through your limit? And you said the algos, which is a great point. I never thought about that, but the algos are very vicious out there. But can you explain that again?
Yeah, so you have the market makers out there. I'm not real heavy in crypto, like doing crypto research stuff. I'm more so just buy and hold crypto and don't even think about it. But this guy, you guys actually had him on your show last week, I think, Russell. He was talking about how big money institutions go hunting for stops. And so they trip off those stops, forcing sales, and then they just buy up shit on the low. But a lot of times there's a delicate art to stops, because if you trade stuff like I trade volatile stocks, like I'm in Fame, I'm in Tesla. I want the volatile stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not trading. I don't buy options on Visa, Disney. Pretty much everything is volatile right now, but I want the extra volatile stuff.
Got you.
So with those, if I put a stop in, I'm asking to lose money, because a lot of the volatile stocks, the spreads are so wide, it's very hard to find a spot where that stop will perform as you want it to perform. Okay. Like with SPX, if you notice, like especially during like the first 15 or so minutes of the session, the spread be like five.
Yeah, that spread is crazy.
SPX. It's crazy. So it's like, okay, let me put a stop in, but do I set it for the bid? Do I set it for the ask? Do I set it at the mark? Do I set it if I set a trail stop on SPX and I say I'm gonna trail it, minus 5 points. If I'm up $500 and SPX starts to fall, that could take all my profit. I don't want to give you 500, even if I'm up 2,000. I do not want to give $500 back. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I set a tight stop on SPX,
got you.
What's the point?
And here's the analogy. Someone said, so basically putting a stop is like tipping your hand to the house.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, yeah. So the only time I set a stop is when I can't watch the chart. That's it.
Got you. And that makes sense, because if you're in front of the computer and in front of the charts all day long, then some people like may have to do that because they won't be in front of it or whatever. So I get that too.
Right.
VTH Heroes in the building. What up, Jason? How are you? And yeah, a great point again, Jabbar. Never trade alone. That's absolutely right. You have to share your ideas and analysis with people, because
Right.
you'd be amazed. Sometimes somebody will point out something that you never thought of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something you said interesting, yeah. So you like the volatile stuff, you like the Fang stuff. So let's talk about Fang. I was reading an article earlier this week that was saying that a lot of the indexes, the S&P 500 indexes, are having issues because per their rules, they're only supposed to have a certain percentage of a company, a percentage of stock within a company as part of that ETF or index. But the problem is the valuations for Fang are so through the roof that it's like kind of off course. Do you see this as some sort of bubble, or like how long can this last with Fang? Because Fang, I mean, everything with the exception of Netflix. And I was talking to Shawn the other day about this. He was like, Netflix hasn't really popped the way everybody else has within Fang. So we have Fang and Microsoft. We like to add the M somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Do you see this as some sort of bubble with Fang, or like what's your read on Fang? Because I mean, can't go up forever.
Absolutely not. And if you look at, like, I like to do a top-down analysis. So if you look at those long-term charts, a lot of these FANG stocks they've grown exponentially. And at some point that's going to have to, plateau out. When, who knows? But I've kind of started to do some looking into, their PE ratios and stuff like that. But what I'm seeing right now is the PE ratios are blooming out of control, causing these stocks to be more expensive. But the EPS is growing as well, but just the growth of the share price growth is just far outpacing the growth of the earnings for these companies. I don't think, for a lot of these companies, they can't sustain this, for a lot longer. And we know that tech doesn't perform well across the entire business cycle. So it's just going to be a matter of what stage we're in on the business cycle. So just a little, just to put it out there, when you structure your portfolio, I think it's wise to structure it across the business cycle. So don't have all tech in your portfolio. I don't think that's a good idea. It's great now, people eating right now. But one thing to think about is tech, for the most part, big tech doesn't pay dividends, with the exception of a few. They don't pay dividends. Like I said,
that's something I'm afraid of, right? Because being someone that's invested for so long, I remember the .com buzz. I remember 08. I remember all these things, and it's like, just having conversations with younger traders. All they know is this last decade has been crazy.
Yeah.
They don't understand like what it looks like and how fast things can go down. So I'm afraid for people to get hurt. I'm glad there's so many people getting into the space, because believe you me, we need investors.
Oh, for sure.
People are so aggressive, and they don't. What you just said is key. About the business cycle, people are so heavy in the tech right now.
Yeah,
they don't have anything else. They won't even look at anything else other than tech because of that volatility and how fast it's able to grow their wealth. Right. So I'm kind of worried about folks in the long run. I hope no one gets hurt. I hope nobody gets hurt.
Sure. Right. I hope they have an exit strategy. If something, because liquidate some of that and put it into some dividend stocks.
Absolutely. Kahan said he had a $4 stop on NIO option. His option was at 422 this morning, and it didn't trigger. He had to end up selling at 320, so that's why he asked. Oh, interesting.
Well, it just depends on how the stock moves. Just because you set a stop. Just because you set a stop doesn't mean it's gonna get triggered. But with the stuff that I trade, they gonna get triggered all day.
Yeah. Robin, that was my first time with the show. Thanks, appreciate. Listen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. So here's a thought from Dwayne. Dwayne says that the Fed is pumping money into the markets. When they ease, Fang will probably as well. Great point.
Yep,
absolutely great point. Absolutely great point. Because like Fang right now is just like, but like I said, so many people, that's all they're buying. I'm talking about that's all they're trading and buying. Like they're just Fang across the board. I'm like, well, where's everything else at? Like, what else do you own? Like, because a lot of those work together anyway.
Yeah, it's like what's your contingency plan for your portfolio when it crashes and you down like 50% and you like WTF?
Now, with your plan, let me ask you this because you mentioned that you like the volatile stuff, you like the
Mhm.
growth stocks. Um, and we have a question for you real quick before I get into that. Robin was reaching out, wants to know, do you have any sort of Facebook group? So, Robin, here's what I'll do. Shoot us an inbox, and I'll make sure I get you in touch with Lance, so you can, she'll tell you everything that she has because she has, several things going on. So, shoot us an inbox, and I'll get you in touch with her. Um,
Yeah.
now, I was going to ask you about you talked about liking some of the volatile growth stuff because it's easy to come and make money on the trade tip. But let me ask you this: do you look at ETFs or leaps when you do your trading at all?
So me, I've gotten away from scouring the entire market for opportunities. I have a small basket of tickers that I trade. Very rarely do I venture outside of that basket to trade anything. So I'm pretty much just looking at the same stuff every day when I get up, sit down at my computer. I'm looking at the same few tickers. Now, sometimes one of my chart masters will say, take a look at XYZ. And if I see a high probability setup, I'm trading it. Um, Case in point, Beyond yesterday, Russell came in the group. He was like, take a look at Beyond. I looked at Beyond. I was like, oh, Beyond about to pop off.
Mm-hmm.
Calls. Let me grab some calls. And that was my first time trading options on Beyond because I don't. It's not in my watch
It's
list,
not
so
in
it's
your
not.
basket.
Yeah, it's not on my radar. But for the most part, I'm trading the same stuff. As far as ETFs are concerned, SPY, um, Dow ETF, uh,
That's a great point.
those are the only ones.
Yeah, that's a great point because one of the things about trading and talking to a lot of successful traders that have been doing this for a while, none of them trade a huge amount of companies, right?
Right.
So because of like pop culture and society, you feel like people that trade have 86 monitors and they're watching every stock in the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
But when I talk to traders, it's like I watch two things, I watch three things, and some people.
Yeah.
I've literally met people that trade one company up and down,
Yep.
and they make a living trading one company up and down. So that it's just interesting to talk to successful traders and how most of them don't even look at a lot of companies.
Right.
Um,
Right. It was giving me anxiety because I would be like, oh shit, Oracle just moved 20 points. How did I missed that? I missed that opportunity. Then the next day is some other obscure company or something like that, and I didn't miss it. And I'm upset because I missed that. And I was like, okay, let me step back. Let me realize that it's thousands of publicly traded companies. Impossible for me to watch them all. So I'm just going to pick a few and I'm going to be loyal to those few.
yeah, that's amazing advice right there. I hope people are like taking notes on that. That's amazing advice. Don, definitely. Make sure you share this. Hit the like button on Facebook as well as YouTube. Appreciate that, Don. What does O say? He also got VU and VNQ too. That's what's up. So VU is the 500 and VNQ is the real estate. So you get your little real estate holdings. Um, Anthony James, keep to the same six.
That's it, man. Get you a
Keep to the
starting
same six.
five and let them take you to the championship.
All right. Robin Atwell says, Bodyhood how. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go right to our Facebook page and just shoot us a message right there. Or you can go right on Instagram. We're at Bodyhood on Instagram. We're at Bodyhood everywhere. So you could do that. But if you're watching on Facebook, you can go right there on the Facebook page and send that. Um, all right. So Dwayne has a question. How about put options as insurance against drastic drop in the market? So I want to elaborate on his question. I'm gonna ask you about your puts, but do you run spreads at all?
No. So I don't do spreads because it requires margin, but I do kind of like I don't even know what to call it. It's I don't trade the calls and the puts at the same time, right?
Okay.
So I'll sit down, do my pre-market analysis. I might see, based on the chart, there might be a call opportunity right at the open, and I see where, it might top out here, buy some puts there at the top. That's kind of how I do my spreads. I do them not at the same time. So I catch the calls going up, sell those calls, catch the puts coming back down. But
Ah,
yeah, I don't like I try to stay away from the margin thing.
got you.
And probably all brokers require margin to trade spreads. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
stick with
Okay.
the cash accounts.
All right, that's cool. I like to get different perspectives from different traders because, like I said, I know a lot of successful traders, but and none of you guys have the same strategies, which is
Right.
amazing. Which is amazing. Robin, no problem, Robin, no problem. We appreciate you watching. Anthony James says he's new but trying to learn it all. Yeah, and listen, just take your time, man, and
Man, you're gonna learn forever.
that's the thing.
Don't
You can never
don't
know it
ever
all.
stop
You never know it
learning.
all, but yeah, just keep at it. Just keep at it. So you said, it's interesting, right? Sometimes I go back and look at every trade I've made, right? So you catalog your trades, you go back and look at them, and I probably do like 90% calls. Right.
Hmm.
For a long time, I wouldn't do puts because I felt like I was putting bad energy out there. But to be honest, what happened last year, and I've told the story before, is like we were doing our free camp for kids, and all the kids, as part of one of the lessons, we were talking about specific companies, and they all started trashing GameStop, and they were talking about how none of them go to GameStop no more. They download games. GameStop is this. They were just trashing it. So I took the
Hmm.
kids' advice and I start shorting GameStop and made a ton of money. I made a ton
Right.
of money all year. It was like an ATM. It was like an ATM, and I got that idea from little kids ages like 5 and up.
Right.
Before That's the only reason I even had the 10% puts though. I was like looking at my trades. I'm like, I rarely run puts. And
Hmm.
I wonder, and if there are any traders out there watching as well, let me know like what your ratio is. Do you run a lot of puts at all? And I know you said you don't run a lot of puts, but you will run puts on things because when they hit top, you want to catch them coming back down, right?
Listen, I love puts.
You love
I
puts.
love
So what do you think
puts.
your percentage is, if you had to guess?
I'm probably slightly call leaning, maybe 60% calls, 40% puts. But yeah, I do a lot of puts.
You do a lot of
A
puts.
lot
Okay.
of puts. Yeah.
But you just don't run them at the same time, is what you're saying.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Got you. Understood. Understood. I always wondered. I wonder, like, for the folks out there, like, what's your percentage or roundabout, for people that are actively trading.
Hmm.
So I got to get better at running puts. I told you for a while I just wouldn't touch them because I'm like I don't want to put that bad energy out there.
Give
But
me. I want all. Give me the energy.
yeah,
Let's.
I know. And
I'm in puts. I'm praying on that company's downfall.
look, and shout out to my brother Diamond Dave. Diamond Dave told me that that's where the money is. He said because
Oh
in,
yeah.
in his opinion, he said that he thinks most of these companies are terribly managed. So it's a lot
Hmm.
of money and just betting against bad management. And I was like, I
Oh
understand.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that. Man, that's amazing. You've given us a lot of great gems and a lot of great advice. So all right, so let's watch this. So we have a lot of people watching who have said they're just getting started. Someone just getting started right now knows nothing about options. All right, and I think I'm gonna know what your answer is. What do you think is the first thing they should do right now? They're watching this and they say, "Man, I want to get an options game." What's the first thing they should do?
Okay. So I'm gonna say first off, and this is what I'm gonna say all day, every day: get the fundamentals down. However, I understand that there are people that don't want to take that route. I can't make people do it the way that I did it, and I can't dictate to you the way that's right for you. So for those that don't want to take that route, do some research on people and get with somebody that seems to have some success in options. There's a lot of people that are marketers out there, that probably don't trade options. They just really good at selling stuff. But then you got people that are really great teachers that really love this stuff, that don't do it for. It's not about the money. Of course, not to say they're doing it for free, but it's not about the money. It's about your love for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I say find somebody, follow that person for as long as you feel like you need to vet that person, and then connect with that person when you feel like you're ready. And I've had people inbox me and say, "Hey, I've been watching you for a year. I'm ready. Put me on."
That's what's up.
Hey,
That's
I'm
what's up.
like, "Hey, cool. I'm glad that I finally passed whatever test you had going on the low." But find someone reputable that you can have mentor you through this craziness, because there's a lot of craziness out there. It's a lot of
Yeah.
people taking advantage of people, and I hate to see people that come to me and they have these stories about how they've been scammed, and so they're very skeptical of me, and I understand why they are, but me knowing me, I'm like, hey, you opportunity is right here knocking, and you are just absolutely refusing to take the chance because of the past. But yeah, I say find somebody, do some research on that person, um, and then go from there. Let that
Yeah.
let that person put you on.
Yeah, like the first thing you want to do, the first investment is like invest in your education, right? You got to
Yep,
invest in your education.
yep,
Dwayne says it's definitely contrary to philosophy of being in the market, but they can come in handy when you watch your stock jump 50% in 2 months, but aren't sure you want to sell it yet. That's absolutely true.
yeah.
And also, he said facts on fundamentals. Don, I agree, Don. Go to Bodyhood University, take the course. That's right, bodyhooduniversity.com. We have multiple courses there. Let me ask you
Yeah,
this: do you trade options on any of the companies that you hold long term, or do you leave that alone?
absolutely.
You do. Okay, so you
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
That lets me use the market to buy more shares. So yeah, for sure. Now for a while I wouldn't. I don't know why I wouldn't, but for a while it was just kind of taboo inside me. But yeah, now any of y'all can get it. Any of
Anybody, any of them can get
y'all.
it. And so the question, Anthony, is do you yeah, yeah. So I think that you were saying sometimes when a company runs up, she'll short it back on the way down. So it is the same
Yeah.
company that. So basically, you're getting paid as the company goes up, and you're getting paid as it goes down.
And intraday as well. If I see an opportunity, what I've been liking to do lately is SPX, for example. SPX can fall 5 points, and that could be a 100% return on a scalp. So what I like to do is when I see a setup for a bearish move, and it doesn't have to be a change in the overall trend. Obviously, the overall trend of SPX right now is bullish, but intraday you can have bullishness and bearishness. So I'm in there on calls, puts, depending on the setup that I see. But what I like to do is when I see one of my high probability setups, I go, if it's an expiration day for sure, I go right at the money or just in the money. So I risk a little more than what I usually like to, and then I just let it do what it do for maybe five points or so. If it goes beyond five, I'm smiling, but 5 points or so, that's 500-600 bucks
Yeah, yeah.
um, on a good day. So
Let me
yeah,
ask
that's
you
that's
this.
what I like to do.
Because one of the strategies that I've been running pretty much all summer, is covered calls.
Oh yeah.
Do you do any cover calls?
No, I haven't done any cover calls yet, but that's in the future when I done left my gig and
Yeah.
I got hella
Listen,
money in the coffers and I'm like, okay, I got let me go on and pimp out these shares of Apple or these shares of Qualcomm over here.
I've 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 learned to run cover calls this summer, and I think it literally has changed the way I view options now.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
as someone who comes from the real estate space primarily, um, it's almost like I'm collecting rent on my stock. It's absolutely
yeah,
insane. And then
yeah.
once I all right, so I've been running cover calls on DraftKings, and anyone who's a part of our Bodyhood University can attest to this because I show the screenshots. Only show like screenshots to the students in the university, but I've been running cover calls on DraftKings, and I ran one just closed today, as a matter of fact. And so what I realized is, okay, now I can print money with the shares I own, but even if my shares get taken, then I can sell puts and buy them back. So
Hmm.
I'm getting paid
Yeah.
on both sides. When I realized I could do that, I said, hold up, how is this even fair? Right? It changed my whole opinion of options now, because now like I'm literally making rental income. So like DraftKings is the one I ran this. I'm making rental income from DraftKings. The same amount of money
Yeah.
that I make from renting a property, I'm making from just owning at least 100 shares of DraftKings.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, like I own a couple hundred shares. So I ran two of them. I'm just running cover calls all over the place, and it's like the most amazing thing. So that's a game
Hmm.
changer. That's definitely a game changer. I was like, yo, this can't be real. Like,
Oh,
how
for
can no one ever
sure.
trade
I
this?
I went to an education conference last year in Vegas with TD Ameritrade, and I met a guy out there who all he does is sell options. That's it. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't no calls, no calls and puts and stuff like that. He just sells options, making bank, you know. So it's when I remember, back when I first started learning about options, I was like, wait, you can sell puts and sell calls.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing to me because I was like, it's so many strategies, it's so many ways to make money in
It
the
is.
options
It's so many ways. Like when I learned this, like I was like, hold up, I gotta need to get on the other side of this because
market.
even if you keep my shares, I get to keep the premium. And the way I do mine is, so I know Corey tries to run some too, but sometimes he runs his at the money to get a higher premium.
Yeah.
I take a lower premium and run them above, like so for instance, the DraftKings examples, my average buy-in for those shares was $20.
Right.
I was running cover calls at 37.50, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
even if you take my shares, you're paying me 17.50 per share. So I'm gonna make that bread right there.
Yep.
And I'm getting the premium. The premium's been ranging anywhere between I think the lowest one was like $40 to like $150. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping this every week. And I'm
Yep.
like, hold on, how is this even like, once I discovered so I need to meet that guy you met out that TD thing because when you get to a certain point when you build the coffers up, I'm sitting there thinking like if I ran a cover call on 10 companies on a weekly basis, you can make a full-time income just running cover calls.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. Another question for you. Let's see. Do you use Greeks and for to
Absolutely.
evaluate trades?
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you my story of my introduction to respecting the Greeks. It's
Okay.
all I kind of juxtapose it to respecting the rain when you're driving.
Mm-hmm.
When you hydroplane, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna play around with this water no more. But so I remember it was a few years ago. I was playing Alibaba for earnings. I grabbed some calls. They were out of the money, but not very far. But they were out of the money. It was a Friday. Um, I knew Alibaba based on my research. They were going to be at this time. I didn't know how to read charts. It was just strictly fundamental. So I bought my calls. I was like, I'm just wait till tomorrow, collect some money. Boom! They announced markets open. My shit went to zero, and my mind was just like my jaw hit the floor, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" I was through because they beat. I was right. I was on the right side of it. I felt like I should have made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, went to zero, and that's when I started digging deeper, and that's when I was like, "Oh, I need to think about how these different elements go into options premium, and if you're too far out of the money, they'll go eat your ass.
Yeah, I just started
They're
like learning,
gonna
like
eat you
working
up.
with Shawn. He just teaching me how to like pay attention to that and pay attention to
Yeah.
even my delta when I'm running cover calls. So great
Oh
point.
yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. And Teresa says, I need to learn that. Yeah, listen, it's game changing, man.
For
Dwayne
sure.
says selling options is like being a banker. Listen,
Oh yeah.
that's the thing. Everybody, listen. Options turned on the light bulb in my head, man. I'm glad to hear that, man. So a question we got right here from Anthony James: to run calls, you have to own 100 shares of that stock. Yes, you do. To run cover calls, yes, you do. Is there a way to
Yeah.
get 100 shares without paying full price? If there is, man, can you let me know? Like, is there, you can control 100 shares without paying full
Yeah.
price, but to actually to own the shares, if you know a way, listen, Anthony, you find a way to get me 100 shares without paying full price, then let me know that. Yeah, listen, so this has been amazing, man. For the folks out there watching, if you have any questions that you would like to get to Lance, make sure that you inbox us. We'll get you in touch with her. Lance is amazing. She's an amazing teacher. Has a lot of patience, and like she said, like she said, everybody can't do that. So I always learn a lot from Lance. Wanted to bring her on to share her perspective on trading options. Let me see. Teresa said,
Oh, let me add
how
this
do you
about
learn cover calls?
Delta.
Okay, yeah, we can get right back in the Delta. Teresa, how do you learn cover? I learned cover calls. It was a brother Jay Johnson. Like I said, we do everything as a group. So as a brother Jay Johnson was breaking it down to me, and then it came from just trying it. And once I tried it and recognized how it worked, it was literally, I ain't gonna say game changing, it was life changing because
Yeah.
there are companies that I've been buying for decades at this point, and I own 100 shares. And now, so for instance, the first stock I ever purchased was Coca-Cola. I've been buying Coca-Cola as a teenager since '96. And I've owned 100 shares for Coca-Cola. I owned over 100 shares years and years ago, and I started thinking about all the money I've been missing.
Yep.
Because if I understood how to run covered calls, I could be printing money every week on any company that you own 100 shares in. So I learned it basically from the group. Our group has amazing, like it has newbies, but a lot of traders that can teach you a lot of things. So that goes to the point you made earlier, is like never trade alone. Um, what about buying way out of the money for day trading? If I have a profit, can I sell them? Interesting. That's an interesting question about buying way out of the money. I don't buy way out of the money. Not on nothing short, but what is your opinion about buying close to the money, in the money, way out of the money? Would like, what's your opinion on that, Lance?
It depends on Greeks, and that's why I trade highly volatile companies, and I mean highly volatile as in when the markets aren't volatile, these companies are still volatile. Um, when you have companies that are really volatile, you can go out of the money, way out
Mm-hmm.
of the money. SPX, I'm perfectly comfortable with going 50 points out of the money on an SPX call or put. Perfectly comfortable with that. But AT&T, heck no. Ain't no way. You might as well just go throw your money out the window. So that's another thing with watching a small basket of companies is you get intimate with those companies and you learn you just already know it kind of becomes innate. Like I remember having a conversation with someone and they were like, yeah, I was thinking about, buying calls on, I think maybe it was Alibaba or something. Buying calls, and Alibaba is one on my watch list that I watch
Mm-hmm.
pretty much every day. And they were like, yeah, I'm gonna go about 50 points out of the money, for this earnings call. And we know earnings, you can see some huge moves. But me knowing Alibaba, I was like, no, that's a waste of money. That's not gonna happen. Alibaba is not even gonna give you 20 points on a good day on
Mm-hmm.
earnings. So what happened? Markets open, that straight zero. And that's one thing that people don't realize is that volatility is is a big cause of the expense of the option. And what happens with companies running into earnings is that implied volatility just swells and swells and swells. After earnings, boom, it goes crashing. And that's when the premiums get cheaper. And if you're not positioned in the correct uh, strike,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that IV crush. So that's what they call it, implied
Yeah.
volatility crush.
Yeah.
Um, but just a little tip to kind of help you, um, give you a little guidance on choosing contracts. Think of delta as probability in the moneyness. So if your delta is 20, then that means that there's a 20% chance that this contract is going to be in the money by expiration. So take from that what you will.
I hope y'all wrote that down. That was a gem right there. That was a free one. That was a
Yeah.
free one right there. That was a good one. Like, okay, maybe I should have been my question. How can I control 100 shares? Well, that's kind of what an option. Option is give you. Yeah, an option is giving you control of those shares. Appreciate that, Dwayne. Definitely appreciate that. And Robin says thanks for
No
breaking that down,
problem.
Lance.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. I love talking about this stuff all day. All day.
Listen, get with us. We got plenty of groups that we could put you in. You know, my son asked, "Where's Corey?" Corey is in Texas now. He was trying to get on, but he said the storm down there was so bad that his signal cut messing up. So that's kind of where he is. Salute to your son for watching the show too. We appreciate that. Kurt, what's good, bro? How you? I'm a newbie. What app to use for chart analysis? I know you talked about using Thinkorswim. That's your thing. TOS is your thing. Do you use anything else for your chart analysis, or is Thinkorswim this your primary thing?
Biggest one is my primary thing, but I for my students, I know that not all of them use Thinkorswim, so I tell them go to TradingView. TradingView is a good one. But the thing about TradingView is it's limited. You have to pay a subscription in order to get more indicators. So even with that, TradingView is not better than Thinkorswim.
Got you. All right.
But yeah, TradingView you have to in order to get I think in order to get more than 3 indicators, you have to pay
Oh,
a monthly subscription.
got you. So Jose says, stay as close to the share price of the stock as you can afford. Yeah.
I listen. I even tell people, do not let what you can afford determine the strike.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you'll be like, you might be looking at Verizon and be like, oh, I'm gonna buy calls at the $100 strike because it's only 10 cents and that's what I can afford. You throwing that $10 away.
Yeah, I hate that. Not I hate that in options, but I hate that even more with just people buying investments, right?
Yeah,
And they start buying stocks based on the price. That drives me insane.
yeah, yeah.
Because to me, we live in a world now where you're able to buy fractional shares. So that changes
Hmm.
the game.
Hmm.
I would rather own like, $100 of Amazon than $100 of some junk company. But I feel like I could buy, 20 shares because it was so cheap. Like
Yep.
fractional shares changed the game to me. So there's no point in buying trash. Naked calls is likely what Anthony meant when he asked. Yeah, he definitely did. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Anthony says that I know he read something, just can't remember what it was. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Finally. Yeah, so man, a lot of game you giving us right here, Lance. Listen, you gotta have you on again because you got all the different tips. But it was
Time,
something else
man.
that I wanted to ask you before we got off here. It was something else I wanted to ask you. Oh, about leaps. Do you do leaps at all? Do you like how far do you go out with yours, or are you just? I know you love the action, so I was wondering, do you do leaps at all? Like, do you
I'm
go a
I'm
couple
I'm
years out?
trying I'm trying to get back into leaps. And I'm back testing right now. So I haven't done any leaps in a while. I'll
Okay.
say I do have one on VIX currently, but it's low key a lotto. I've been in VIX puts since VIX was 85.
Okay.
So I just been, letting that do what it do. But basically I am working on or back testing a strategy whereby I take high probability setups
Mm-hmm.
and I trade those on long term charts.
Mm.
So when I look back on my long term charts right now, like my weekly charts and my monthly charts, this all this craziness in the market started with high probability setups. So I just think back and I'm like, imagine if I would have saw this setup on the weekly chart and been like, oh, let me buy calls about 6 months out on Apple or Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to my page there, I did post about some of those companies making some big moves back in like March and stuff like that. I was a little nervous to trade them, but I ended up paper trading them. So with simulated cash, not real money. But looking back, I wish I would have traded them because I caught Amazon, Shopify, Netflix. Those were the main three that I was in, heavy. Um, I the Amazon one just blew my mind because I just bought one contract in my paper trade account. That contract was like $80 or
Mm-hmm.
8,000. I mean, um, it went as low as like maybe 5,700 and ended up going well over to 120. So I mean, that 8,000 turned into like over 50, over 50K.
Man,
So
it's interesting. It's interesting, right? Because you said something that I think is very important. As someone who's a seasoned trader and does this on a daily basis, you still, when you test things, will go do it in paper trading.
oh yeah,
And I
oh
think
yeah.
that's a gem. That's a gem right there too. I know a lot of people once they start, and I had someone, I forgot who it was, told me this week. They said I can't do it anymore because now if I win, I'm going to be just as upset.
Yeah, man.
but but
Listen,
I think
I
that's I
be
think
just
that's
as
great.
hurt.
That's great. That's great advice right there. You still test things paper trading, although you're experienced.
Yeah, yeah. So people, it's a lot of taboo and shame around paper trading. But I don't do that over here. I encourage people to paper trade, but you want to do it responsibly. So if you're not buying 100 contracts in your live account, why are you doing that in a paper trade account? And
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with one of my clients the other day, and I said, with one of my comrades, I said, it's just like practice when you with a sport. I played sports through college, and we practiced.
Yeah.
So without practice, how do you become better? But when you go to practice, you practice like it's the real thing. Then
Mm.
that way, when you go out to the game, it's like, hey, I've done this a million times. This
See,
ain't no.
Lance, this is why I love you. You just inspired me. You're gonna have me hitting practice hard this week. I'm about to go ham. I'm about to go crazy on my paper trading account now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And that's the thing. Be careful. Where I kind of shame people is when you try to present your paper gains as real money. That's where
People actually do
lose
that. I
me
never.
at. Oh yeah, people do that. People definitely do that. It's a marketing thing,
I gotta
but
pay attention to that. I didn't even
oh
think
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
So put the disclaimer out there and say, hey, this is a
Yeah.
practice trade. This is a simulated account. That kind of thing. But there are a lot of people out there that try to present that as real money. But
That's for
don't
Mona.
feel ashamed for paper trading, people. Paper trade your lights out until you're ready to do the real thing.
Great advice, Mona. Thank you for saying that. Let's see what platform you buy fraction stock on. Several. Robinhood, M1. M1's a good one if you're just looking to build a long-term portfolio. Let's see. I've heard you can use in Robinhood. Yeah, they have to approve you for it. I'm not sure they approve you starting off now, but for a while it was. And yeah, Sean said the same thing. M1 fine. M1 is amazing. Google will tell you which one. Do you paper trade on Thinkorswim?
Yes.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Stunting.
Yeah.
Yes, TOS has paper trading. Yeah, cats do be stunting. I gotta go back now. I'm gonna go back on some of these cat because I saw somebody on my timeline. I ain't gonna name no names. They were like, a couple weeks ago they were selling like and not that you can't do more than one thing, but they were like heavy into selling like different like vitamins and things, and then like next thing I know they have an options course. I was like, man, I'm like, where'd that even come from? Like, where'd that come from? And now I gotta check that out. Now I'm about to go back and check all these screenshots to make sure that
See,
make sure it's not
it's easy with Thinkorswim to decipher the real from the simulated because margin is a dead giveaway. You see the Thinkorswim mobile app or whatever, and it says margin, it's likely not a real trade.
Oh, y'all cats out there frauding. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Or if you see on Thinkorswim, if the show column and the bottom buttons are yellow, orangish, that's the paper trade account. So make sure that shit is green. Make sure it's green.
I can't wait to go to IG tonight just to laugh at some folks, man. Now I know some of y'all out there frauding with y'all paper trades. This is a great question from Jose. And I don't want to keep you on that. We got a couple more questions. A great question from Jose. I says, I know your answer, but for new traders, how do you overcome the mental blocks you encounter when you lose or win on a play? And the reason I say that's a great question, right? Because so sometimes you can do your analysis, right? But you still like maybe gun shy or not believing in your analysis the way you should. For instance, and Sean, I know you're watching. I see you on YouTube. I just want you to know that that XLF. I was talking to him about an XLF leap. Me, him, and Corey were on a call just going over some strategies. And that same XLF leap, went up so many points. And I had the analysis. I didn't pull the trigger because for one, I was being a cheapskate trying to get my order filled way lower than bid, So. But even if I would have bought it at the money when we were having a conversation, this was yesterday. It was Thursday we were talking. I missed out on close to $1,000. If I could have bought a couple contracts and made close to $1,000, and I had the analysis there. I just didn't pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We were making a joke on this exact Friday show. 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were talking about Tesla and buying a January 2022 call. Right? Now, to buy in, it was something like $40,000, something stupid like that. So
yeah.
we were saying it's 4 of us, put $10,000 up.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about it, and we said we know, and in fact on the show we said this is a guaranteed win. Mm-hmm. And Sean, I know you're still watching. I want to say this too. As of yesterday, we missed out on like 40 or 50 G's. So sometimes you can have. So Jose, great question. You can do your analysis how do you get over that mental part in terms of in believing in your analysis, and also when you do great analysis, sometimes it still might not work out for you. How do you bounce back from the emotional ups and downs of as a trader? What has helped you?
Man, that is tough. It's tough. It takes a lot of internal work to get there. But basically, you want to treat each trade like its own separate thing. It has nothing to do with yesterday, has nothing to do with any of the other trades that you got going on. So I find myself, what I'm working on now is trying to be more cognizant of all the voices in my head, all the wavelengths coming in, and filtering out the ones that are for me and the ones that are not. So what I try not to do is be like, remember that SPX trade from the other day that you didn't hold long enough? So you got to hold this one long enough. Regardless of what happens, this is what you got to do. I think the real answer to your question is detachment. So you get to a point where you're completely detached from the outcome. You just trade that setup, trusting, what happens going to happen. And if it works in your favor, great. If it doesn't, hey,
Okay. Yeah.
basically you want to feel the same way about wins and losses. It hey, I still got breath in my body. I'm good. It's money, I can get that back. Or hey, I'm building on, I'm building my coffers with this. But if you get to a point where you're consistently profitable, and you're trading these high probability setups, it really doesn't matter what happens, because it's almost like you D'ing up LeBron James, right? You defensive player of the year. I mean, you stuck to him like glue, but he still dunks on your ass. Sometimes the market's gonna be like that. The market's gonna be like that sometimes. You can't be mad. You did all you could do. You followed the plan to a T. It just didn't work out that time.
Jose, that's a great question, and I'll tell you something that I started doing this past year. I'll take 2 weeks off and won't trade, like just because sometimes what I find myself doing, and this is also about being self aware and knowing your own psychology. Sometimes I find myself like just wanting action, like my analysis is somewhere and it's telling me like, yo, just stay away. There's no plays out here, and I'm like, I'll go make a play anyway because I just need to have some action.
Yeah.
So, sometimes what I find, I literally will go 2 weeks and don't make a trade at all. Like, and it is work, and that's actually work for me because it lets me refresh and just come back in with clear eyes as opposed to just making trades for the sake of making trades.
Right.
Mark has a question: are there any stock simulation apps for kids? I don't know of any specifically for kids. I'll take a look at that for you though, Mark. I know that I think it was somebody on here told me that they have a Webull account that has like some sort of simulation, let their kid use Webull, but I guess you have to make sure there's no money in there and block any sort of connection to your bank account because the Webull has both, but they do have paper trading as well. Man, Steven, shoot us the inbox, man, because that's a loaded question. It all depends upon what you're researching for, what kind of analysis you're looking to do. But I could definitely help you out in terms of like getting you on board in terms of just doing that. Dwayne says,
SWOT. Let that guide you in your research.
Yeah, SWAT. Yeah, Dwayne says, facts, move on, no dwelling. Yeah. And,
it's hard to do. It's definitely hard to do, and that's how I built my trading Bible. It's just full of insights of mistakes I've made, and I don't even look at like that's my gem right there. It's my Bible. Like, I don't feel bad about it because it's like, look at all this stuff that I've learned to make myself better. Now I'm aware of all these things and I can recall these things subconsciously now. So it's like I'm grateful for the lessons for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mona just want to put out here, she says psychology is key. Accepting the losing is part of trading. Each trade is a separate entity. And that's a great point about Lance pointing out that people be frauding with their screenshots. I don't trust anyone that won't show a loss, right?
Yeah.
You can't, there's no way that you can't just win everything. Cats be out here like, all I see is all your wins. Show me your losses, right? I want to see your losses too, because if you're not taking a loss, you're not a real. Listen, if you haven't blown up in the counter taking a loss, you're not a real trader. That's the way I say, man.
Man, listen.
Listen to the people out there. First of all, Lance, I just want to say thank you for sharing your time. And for y'all, for those watching, I don't think you understand how special this is. Lance is a legend, and she doesn't show her face at all. Like yo, Lance is like she's low key, like completely low key. So for her to come out for us, we want to say, listen, we appreciate you, we love you, and we support everything you got going on, and say thank you because I know that you don't come out for many folks.
No, no, man. Corey told me, and I was like, man, I got to do it. So
Definitely appreciate
I
that.
love you guys. I love what y'all doing. I'm still trying to like tell Corey, like, look, at some point, I got to get up there and beat the streets
Yeah,
with you
man.
guys.
It's like, man, whenever you come, we got all the hospitality, man, because you definitely have shown us a lot. And Jose says, by the way, when you publish that Bible, let him know.
Go in Discord. It's in there.
Oh, you see, she said it's already in there. Oh, listen, though, you definitely taking losses. You got to, man. That's how you earn your stripes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your initiation is taking losses, man.
Mario, what's up? Yeah, man. We have weekly. We've started having Sunday calls where we just focus on psychology. Period. So
yeah, that's a great idea.
We just be talking about our struggles and shit like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it ain't all about trading, because trading is just one piece of the puzzle. So
yeah, and by the way,
psychology.
He says, back to the point. He says he knows, honored to listen. I'm sure he's gonna watch 7 times. Like he's confirming what I'm telling y'all. Lance don't show up for everybody, man. I'm telling you.
Excellent. And that's another thing. I'm just going back right quick to your question about for the newbies, how can you start? Wanting to trade options, where do you start? Start working on your mindset. Be honest with yourself about how you feel about money and wealth, and go from there. Because if you don't, the markets are going to expose you for who you really are. So get started now. Don't be like me and get to options and be like, damn, I got to be a better person in order to be profitable.
Listen, Mario says he loves the Sunday calls. Dion is vouching for your Sunday calls. Those are everything. Thanks, Callie. We definitely appreciate that. How do you feel about buying stocks on Cash App? It's a great way to get started. If you're just getting started, it's a great way to get started. In my opinion, to just get an understanding. I don't do a lot of the arguing about brokerages. I have my preferred brokerages. I pretty much use all of them just to test them out to see what's good on all. But if you haven't started yet, I would say just get in the game. Just get in the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Lance, thank you again, and that's an amazing shirt you got on, by the way, Lance. It's a fire shirt.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I just want to say, listen, we just want to say thank you because again, and I know I keep reiterating this. Lance don't show her face, man. She's underground, man. But she's getting to $1, man. She's working her magic, and only people she talks to is her team. So for her to show up, we definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all.
We will have you back on, because as a matter of fact, one time we got to get you and Shawn on because both of you guys are master options traders, and just get have a powwow and just talk strategy. Yeah. So Shawn, we got to get you back on too with Lance. But for the folks out there listening, we appreciate this. Make sure you share this video on whatever platform you're watching it. Hit the like button. If you want to reach out to Lance, shoot us an inbox. We'll get you in touch with Lance. And if you're looking to get in touch with us, shoot us an inbox as well. Check out our podcast we have coming out this upcoming Wednesday, our regular podcast. And Lance has been on a regular podcast telling her story about how she got started. So, but our regular podcast, one coming up this Wednesday, we got Brother Russell coming on, who's going to talk about why he believes the Black community needs to really take a look at cryptocurrency as an investment. So he's kind of talking about a little bit about history and why he believes that cryptocurrency, he's a crypto trader. So he's coming on this Wednesday. Check out everything we got going on in our Facebook page, our Instagram page at By the Hood. And Lance, just want to say thank you again. Can't thank you enough. And we'll definitely have you back on here. And for everybody checking in, leaving comments, we appreciate all the support. Again, make sure you share this. And as we always say, man, check us out next week. We'll be back here live next Friday, starting at 7 p.m. And we'll have talk about what's going on in the markets. But just thank you for all the support as always. We really, really, really do appreciate it. And we'll check y'all next week, y'all. Peace.